Alright, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Fortified Pod. This is episode 10, so we've made it to double digits. I'm your host, Tim Fournier. But I've kind of decided to make a new kind of format for these videos. What I've been doing is in my notes app, whenever I come up with an idea that I think would be kind of interesting to talk about, I write it down. So I think the format of these moving forward is just going to be me scrolling through, finding one that I find interesting, and then kind of talking about it. Before we get into that, a little bit of a life update. I did not post a video last week. I'm trying to do it every single week, but I did miss last week. I've been applying to grad school, and I had to take the GRE exam. It's kind of like the SAT for grad school. Did well, super pumped about it, going to grad school in the fall. So I had to really get that in line, but these are not going away. I really like doing these, so we're going to keep moving forward. So the first thing that I want to talk about is I find it very important to have seasons in your life where you deliberately think about different, time frames where you're specifically working on something or you're more focused on one thing than another and setting a start and end date for it. And there's a few reasons why I find it really important. First of all, I think it compartmentalizes your mind into being focused on that one thing. As an example, I just went through a 5-week cut where I was eating essentially the same thing every single day. I had it all on my whiteboard for every single day. I'd check off the days that I did what I was supposed to do with my diet and my activity. And it really helps to have a start and end date in a season for that because you're very focused on it during that time frame, obviously. When it gets hard at the end, let's say, like for a cut, it's going to be easier in the beginning, and at the end, it's going to be a lot harder. When you have that designated end date, it helps a lot to just be like, okay, I just got to get through another week and a half. I can do anything for a week and a half. I'm going to push through to the end. Where if it was just, there was no clear end to it, that makes it a lot harder to be like, all right, I'm just going to lock in for a week and a half because it feels like it could go on forever. So, but off of that, it also means when it ends, you're free to open yourself up to the next goal. So for me, am I perfectly as lean as I want to be? No, I'd like to be a little bit leaner, but it was important for me to lay off those 5 weeks, be really locked in. I lost 11 pounds, 10 pounds, and so that was great. But now I'm in a specific season of life, the next season, where I'm focusing more on, just enjoying time with my friends in the summer while I'm home and my family. And I'm really trying to get better at golf. That's kind of my next season. And that's what's on my whiteboard. I can see it right over there is I have a goal to work on golf at least 4 times a week. I'm trying to really, really commit myself to golf because I think it has a lot of benefits and it's fun and something social to do and with my friends, family, whatever. But it's important because if I was still kind of in between the seasons where it all kind of meshes together and there's no designated start and end dates, I would be, in this next season in life where I'm not focusing on losing weight. If I was trying to do both at the same time, then, like the other day on the golf course, I got a pack of peanut M&Ms at the turn. And if I was still in the cutting season of life, I wouldn't have gotten that, or I would have felt very guilty about it. And it would have been bad for the cut and would have taken away my enjoyment of being with my friends and playing golf. It's a very small example, but a lot of these small things add up over time, where if your seasons blend together and you're focused on too much at one time, it detracts from both. So that's kind of what I wanted to get into, and that kind of leads into more of a fitness conversation that I wanted to have. So there's a big rise in the fitness industry right now about being a hybrid athlete and, training to look a certain way, whether it's bodybuilding, whatever, but also then performing. The most common one that's been growing right now is people are lifting and also running. And I think people obviously like different things and want different outcomes from fitness. But there's a lot of people that are, starting at the ground level and they're like, oh, do I need to run to look good? Do I need to, do XYZ to look good. And they kind of balance like, oh, like, do I want to be more of like a performance fitness person or just care about the way I look? And I've been thinking about this a lot too, because I've been so focused simply on, more of a bodybuilding aspect and specifically about how I look for so long. But now I'm really seeing the benefits of trying to do something more performance-based. I'd like to get into running more. I've been trying to add that into my routine a little bit more slowly. And I actually want to get into jiu-jitsu. I want to do some type of fighting sport because I also think that's going to blow up in the fitness industry, but it's a topic for another time. And I think it just seems cool. But what I'm getting at is I think the goal for people, I think people get, myself included, this definitely happened to me, that when you get into the fitness space and you're really focused on how you look, you kind of have forever moving goalposts. I was 255 pounds in high school, super overweight. I had only 5'10", and super overweight in high school. And I'm now 65 pounds lighter. And like, I always have this constant feeling in myself that I'm still not good enough because I don't walk around with like perfect abs all the time. But back in high school, I would have killed to look the way I do now. And not to say that I'm not trying to look better in the future, but what I'm getting at is now I'm kind of going through my seasons of losing the weight and then kind of chilling out and focusing more on performance stuff for me right now, whether it's golf or getting into running or anything like that. But I will say, I think for your average person, you need to I think the first step should be working out to look a certain way and getting to that point where you can maintain a physique that you like, that then allows you to go and, train to perform in something else. I think that's the track that most people would benefit from. Obviously, people come from different places and like different things. But I think the ideal track is to dedicate time to getting the physique that you like that is also very maintainable for you. It doesn't work if you get shredded and then it's not maintainable at all and then you fall off. I feel like I'm going on a little bit of a tangent and, running off here. But what I'm saying is, I think that should be the first building block, and then you get to a spot where you feel you can maintain a physique that you like, and then that's when you start getting into, running, or that's when you start getting into powerlifting, whatever the heck it might be, or, trying to get better at golf, whatever it is. But I think mentally it works a lot better to first dedicate the time and effort to looking the way you want that is maintainable, and then branching off to different things from there. Because it's very hard to do both at the same time. That's what I'm starting to notice. When I want to eat enough to fuel my run and my lift and do all this stuff, it doesn't really work well when I'm trying to also lose weight and look a lot better at the same time. Once again, kind of the seasons idea, they just detract from each other. I'm not perfect on my diet, making me not lose the weight as fast as I want to lose it. Cuts hurting in that sense, and then I'm not eating enough to fuel my performance, so then neither are happening. Important to have seasons. I feel like I really kind of babbled on about that stuff. Hopefully that made sense. But the last thing I want to talk about is something that just kind of, I dealt with literally last night. Very different topic, but I feel like phones and social media in general have completely destroyed interactions between people in life, especially in a cold approach setting. So, I'm 23 years old, you go out to the bar and, girls are there too, and obviously there's an element of people being there wanting to be social, to meet new people, that's how you meet your next girlfriend, whatever. And so, there's a girl made, awkward eye contact a few times, and then it's like, wow, maybe I should go over and say hi. And then I was there with my friend and actually his girlfriend, and I was like, why does it feel so weird to like go up to someone and be like, hi, my name's Tim, what's your name? Like, 20 years ago, I don't think it was like that. Like, you hear stories about how your parents met, and it's like, yeah, I saw her and she was pretty, and I walked up and I introduced myself. Like, it feels like that didn't used to be weird, and now it's weird. And I think that phones play a huge role in that, because people have so many less just face-to-face interactions with people that everyone is so underdeveloped in that skill set. But what got me thinking even more was, if that's the case, if you can recognize that and then get over yourself and go actually do it, then it's actually a huge advantage. Because if everyone is operating at this level of, skill set in terms of cold approaching and social interaction, and you just put yourself out there and you fail a bunch of times to elevate yourself to this level, then 20 years ago, this level wouldn't have stuck out of any type of room. But now, this level of social skill sets, can get you a lot farther. So if you recognize the changes since then, and then, just attack it head on and actually prove to yourself that you can do it, then it's actually, in a sense, could be easier than ever to have success in that type of scenario, even though it is maybe weirder and harder nowadays, if that makes sense. To finish the example, I actually did go do it and say hi and introduce myself to the girl, and I could tell she was kind of like surprised and like, I don't know the word, like taking it like off guard just by it, because I feel like people just like don't do that anymore. And I was like, oh, like how's it going? What's your name? I'm Tim, blah blah blah. And then we were talking about like what we did for work and what colleges we went to, and then we just kind of like went on like a tangent about like where we want to live one day and like blah blah blah. She was moving to like South Carolina or something. And then it kind of just like trailed off, and just like naturally the conversation ended, and I was like, all right, well, it was great meeting you. Like, to be completely honest, I thought we made like eye contact once or twice, so I just thought I'd come over here and like say hi and introduce myself. And she was like, oh no, like that's cool, like whatever. And then I was like, all right, sounds good, nice to meet you. And like I could have asked for a number or whatever, but I just wasn't getting that vibe. But then I walked away and I was like, okay, I didn't really get anything out of that, but I'm really proud of myself for just doing that, and I need to do that more. And if I fail a million times, all that needs to happen is it to work out really well once, and then, that could be my wife. So, people out there, it is frustrating that it is very weird to just go up and say, hi, my name is XYZ, and introduce yourself to people. But at the same time, because it is weird, you can use it as an advantage to yourself, because it can now, a lower level of skill in that area can get you a lot farther now, because people are shocked that, you're actually doing it. But that's all I got for today. I want to keep these videos still relatively shorter, so it's easier to watch and digest. But I like this kind of format of, throughout the week, throughout the day, whenever something pops into my head that I think would be interesting to talk about, I write it down in my notes, and then I can bring it to these. And it's super easy for me to just sit down, record, and then post it. So, hope you guys enjoyed. Leave a comment, like, subscribe. I'm going to be a lot more consistent with these. And yeah, that's it. Peace.